Hey, yo, Kevin Logan. This is going to be a video to smooth out some of the rougher discourses between anti-feminists and feminists, because I think there's a disconnect between us, and the best thing to do is to just face it head on, because both sides could get petty, vindictive, sanctimonious, we could do without that shit. So this is going to be somewhat of a peace treaty, an olive branch, to better understand why there's such a antagonistic relationship between feminists and anti-feminists, progressives and conservatives, whatever. On the academic scene, I think there's a more you guys have a better interest in denying that you are censoring us. You guys are more interested in browbeating and shaming and kicking the white dog than you do addressing some of the more serious concerns, which is kind of ironic, because for all our Islamophobia, the one thing that could destroy Islam is feminism. Cards on the table. If you actually sit back and you gave Muslims feminism and have their women be so unattractive as to remind them how oppressive the society is, you will see a decrease in the Islamic population. You'll probably see an increase in honor killings, but hey, come see, come sa, you take a little, you lose a little, whatever. Feminism, or at least advocacy for women's rights, is important, especially in the ultra-right, far Islamic, extremist, militaristic, religious authoritarian sects that we in the conservative hilt are adversarial with. How can I put that simply put? We need feminism. We need feminism to fuck up Muslim marriages just like they fucked up American marriages. But that's another subject. Be vocal about your feminism. If you're gonna be a feminist, be vocal about your feminism, even when the person is wearing a burqa. You guys are fucking hypocritical by shutting your mouths up and saying, well, we don't want to impose Western colonialism. Fuck you, you damn hypocritical cowards. You're just kicking the white dog. You know that white Christians are the easiest target, so you don't touch Muslim fundamentalism in any way, shape, or form. That's another subject. The next olive branch I'd like to point to you, the social justice community. I would like for you to maybe take on the possibility of changing the narrative of toxic masculinity and turning toxic masculinity into a verb, an action word. Let me explain. When you use terms like hegemonic masculinity or toxic masculinity, you set up no markers of delineation of what's good or bad, insofar as you pretty much write off the whole experiment as masculinity is toxic, masculinity is hegemonic, masculinity is punitive, masculinity is a negative thing. I would like for you in the social justice community to put gears. Look at masculinity like a race car. First gear is idealistic masculinity. That is the father passing down information to his son. That is the brother, the guy that defends his family, the man that wakes up out of bed because he heard something and he doesn't want his family to get hurt. The man that says that, look, I don't care if my daughter doesn't love me, I'm still going to enforce this curfew. Idealistic masculinity. Recognize it and appreciate it. In the far spectrum of that is pornographic masculinity. Now, pornographic masculinity, I think it's my term. Pornographic masculinity is when idealistic masculinity goes too far. Think about pornography is a perfect example. There's a difference between pornography and making love. We could recognize that the hyper dominance, the hyper genderification of sex is pornographic masculinity. You could think of Jordan Belfort and Leonardo DiCaprio's Leonardo DiCaprio's performance of Jordan Belfort's Wolf of Wall Street as being pornographic masculinity. You could think of ultimate fighting as, it's a little bit ideal, but fighting in a bar and beating someone who's unconscious, that is pornographic masculinity. When you take all the positive aspects of masculinity and you take it to such a high extreme that it becomes cartoonish and destructive, that is pornographic masculinity. The problem with pornographic masculinity, however, is you ladies kind of like it. You love a man who could fight fucking finance. Come on, be honest, ladies. Come on, you can be honest with me. Then you have your third gear, which is toxic masculinity. And it's very simple. Toxic masculinity should be seen as all behaviors that punish or self-punish men for not being man enough. So it's one thing to lift weights, but when you say, oh, you're a faggot because you only have 20-inch arms, that's toxic masculinity. When you shit on yourself because you feel hurt that someone broke your heart, and it's like, man up, man up, man up, that's toxic masculinity. If you make toxic masculinity a verb, you could actually call men out on it the very instance that they do it. If not, if you keep blurring idealistic masculinity and toxic masculinity and pornographic masculinity, you get men who think that you're denigrating masculinity as a normal code of ethics. You know what I'm saying? Because there is psychological ramifications for being born with a male appendage. There is epistemological, metaphysical ramifications for being born with a male phallic. And women don't understand it. I wish they did. I wish that maybe someone who's anti-prostitution would recognize that sex is pretty much the only way men get touched, because, you know, homophobia being what it is. Or that sex has become the proof that you are living your life in an appropriate manner. Women don't have to deal with that. Sex is just sex to them. Men actually have to work for sex. And that's why when we do that, we look at three schemes. Should I go the pornographic route, the idealistic route? And that, when you shit on all three routes, you kind of get the manosphere, you know? You get men who don't approve of feminism and don't know why. Worse yet, you get men who wants to see idealistic masculinity so bad that when a female journalist comes and tells them that Gears of War is sexist, and we only see Gears of War. Yeah, I'm talking about Anti-Sarkeesian. We only see Gears of War as a bro fest. Two men passing machine guns around, defending their country from the locust horde. And you want to shit on that as being some kind of representation of toxic masculinity. We kind of lose our minds. We kind of get hyper antagonistic. I mean, there's some men that cling on to Leave It to Beaver fantasies of the idealized patriarchal family structure, even as they reject everything else. And to tell them that that is oppression, to tell them that that is evil, it's probably why you have such a vitriolic response to feminism or Anita Sarkeesian brand of feminism. We care about masculine identity. It's pretty much all we got in this postmodernist world. We defend it in video games, we defend it in television, we defend it in sports. So maybe you need to put gears on your gears. Gears of masculinity. Put gears of masculinity on your feminist doctrine. First gear is idealized masculinity. Second gear is pornographic masculinity. Too far, homeboy. Make love. Stop fucking this bitch. Excuse me. Third gear is toxic masculinity. You're just punishing yourself because you're not man enough, because you got beat up, because you got cheated on, yada, yada, yada. Do you understand what I'm saying? Kevin Logan, Jenny McDermott, everybody in the fucking social justice manosphere, fucking Christy Winters. Do you understand that you've kind of ignored men, you know? Put gears on your masculine identity and you will get less MRA backlash. It's your boy Louis Cypher signing out. Peace.